Good evening. This is the Bicycle Pedestrian Commission meeting. Today is February the 20th, 2025. I call the meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. and ask staff to proceed with roll call.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Ganga,
Yes.
Commissioner Eshelbeck,
Yes.
Commissioner Maipatla,
Yes.
Chair Marcy,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wolf,
Yes.
Cavacor.
The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. So are there any clarifying questions or comments on the meeting minutes? They were from October 16th, but I'll take that as a no. Are there any public speakers?
There might be one here. Pedestrian safety, so no, it's another. Pedestrian safety.
That's for basic. Well,
Oh, is this for all? So yes, there is one, no, just one oral.
Public comments. All right, so if there are any questions or comments, we need a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 16th, 2024 by Fed Commission meeting. I second.
like me to,
That's you need a roll call.
for the motion on the screen, how do you vote, Commissioner Ganga,
Yes.
Commissioner Eshelbeck?
Do we have to vote? We're gonna commissioners at the time.
You can still vote on it. You may abstain if you like, but you.
Then I support. Yeah.
So, yes, okay. Commissioner Maipatla,
I'll abstain.
Commissioner, Chair Marcy,
I was not there at the meeting, so.
you may still vote to approve or you may abstain. It's up to you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Commissioner, Vice Chair Wolf?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes, 3 in favor, 2.
So you almost got my last name right. So there is a L before the last A. Yes. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes. Awesome. We got it.
Sorry about that.
No, you passed the test.
I think there's also a typo on the website.
Is that right?
Okay, we'll take care of that.
Are there any postponements?
No postponements.
So let's move on to the oral communication. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the commission on any matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. And I received a speaker card. So we have a speaker. The item is about the pedestrian safety on Torrey Avenue. And the speaker is John Stauffer from Cupertino, representing himself.
Hello, thank you, everyone. I'm Dr. John Stauffer. I'm retired. I live at Sterling Square, right across from City Hall in Cupertino. I've been a resident there for about 18 years now, since it opened. I was here to assist a colleague, fellow resident of Sterling Square, Stephen Zay, who is not here. But he raised a point in an email to the commission, I don't know who specifically, about pedestrian safety crossing Torrey Avenue on 2 locations adjacent to the library. This is where Town Center Lane meets Torrey Avenue. Right now, there is a double crosswalk there. One on the north side of Town Center Lane, one on the south side. And it has a stop sign for pedestrians crossing. It has a marked sidewalk. But Stephen and I regard this as a very dangerous intersection for pedestrian traffic. He raised the question whether we could get flashing lights installed at that double crosswalk on Torrey Avenue, because it is a very busy pedestrian crossing. We both live on Torrey Avenue. We have seen commuters come along there and not stop. School children are let off the bus there. They go to the library. They cross Torrey Avenue to go into Town Center Lane. This is a particularly dangerous intersection, we think, at nighttime, where pedestrians are not visible because of various visual impediments like a bush on the north side and the signs and structures where the book return area for the library is located. So we have a plea to install crossing lights at that very big dangerous intersection. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing the commission. As this is not an agenda item, we cannot comment on the public comments, but it's something that we can put on the agenda for the future meetings going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and there's no old business, so we can move to the new business. And the second agenda item is the election of the Bicycle Pedestrian Commission Chair and Vice Chair for 2025. So, David, you want? Go ahead.
Sure. So, at this point, I would like to take nominations for chair for the Bicycle Commission for the 2025 year.
I move to approve to recommend a vote for Ilango Ganga as chair.
I second that.
I'd be honored. Thank you for nominating.
Okay, so respect to Ganga as chair for Bicycle Pedestrian Commission, how do we vote? Commissioner Ganga,
Yes.
Commissioner Matipala,
Yes.
Commissioner Eshelbeck,
Yes.
Chair Marcy, abstain, Vice Chair Wolf, abstain, so motion passes 3 yes, 2 abstain.
I'm gonna put it on the screen.
While Kim's putting on the screen, are there any,
It's effective immediately, right? Or
generally, yeah. So you can take it,
Swapping the chairs.
you can take it from.
I thought, chair and vice chair together, one single item, right?
It's the same agenda item, but we do 2 different votes.
Okay.
So I'd be looking for a volunteer or nomination for vice chair.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Eshelbeck as, vice chair.
So, yes. And I would like to second.
Accept the,
I would be honored to accept this position.
so for,
Thank you. I'd like to call the vote.
Hold on 1 second. We need to vote on the first item first.
we did.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Who seconded the?
That was
I nominated.
nominated
Second by Kanga.
I think the
along with.
H.
NADH.
One more DH, yeah.
Sorry.
After this second D is H, yeah. Got
Okay. Sorry about that.
it.
Okay.
So on the motion on the screen to nominate Commissioner Eshelbeck as vice chair. How do you vote, Chair Ganga?
yes.
Commissioner Marcy?
Abstain.
Commissioner Wolf? So Commissioner Manipala
Yes.
and Commissioner Eshelbeck.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. Commissioners Marcy and Wolf abstain.
Yes. Yeah, I would like to put the motion pass, so I would like to thank the outgoing commission members, John Zhao and Grace Chung, and for their service, and I would like to welcome the new commissioners, Madhipal and Shelberg, to the commission. I'd be honored to serve you as chair for the next year. Thank you so much for having the trust in me and nominating me for the chair. Thank you. Any comments or?
Yeah, I think, I worked with, Commissioner, Chair, new Chair Kanga in the past on the bike commission, so the level of diligence that he takes, he goes through. So we are lucky to have you as a chair, so well deserving, and our city will be well served with someone like you as a chair.
Same here, and we worked together as well before on the commission, and I'm super excited about being back on the commission again. Looking forward to working with all of you together as a team here.
Thank you. Thank you all for that. We're moving on to the next item. This is item number 3. That's the bike event coordination. The staff member Chelsea Bigler will be presenting, and this is regarding discussing and coordinating the bicycle commission events, future events, and your participation, expected participation from the commission members.
Yeah, specifically for bike to wherever days, which are coming up in May. Hello, my name's Chelsea. I'm the part-time Safe Routes to School coordinator. If I haven't met some of you, meet you. I'm here just to remind all of you that Bike to Wherever Days is coming up. Well, sort of in May, but the deadline to sign up is coming up. And if you want to go to the next slide. So it was used to be called Bike to Work Day. So for many years nationwide, it was a day that was encouraging people to try their commute to work by bike rather than driving. And locally, it's coordinated by the Silicon Valley Bicycle Coalition. Next slide. And it has since been shifted to become Bike to Wherever Days after to encourage people to not only bike to work, but to bike for errands or to school or wherever. and it's expanded from 1 day to 3 days. So it's celebrated in May. I'm gonna go next slide. And those dates for 2025 are the 15th, which is typically bike to work day, and then 16th and 17th, which are Fridays and Saturdays, which are bike to wherever days. The Bicycle Pedestrian Commission has typically taken a role in helping to run an energizer session. I'm sure maybe some of you have done that in the past. And worked with Walk by Cupertino. An energizer station are these different stations set up all over the county that have refreshments and coffee and just people cheering people on for biking. Next slide. And yeah, a big draw of these energizer stations are the tote bags also that are given out by Silicon Valley Bicycle Coalition that typically have different goodies and information. So a lot that drives a lot of people to come to the tables. So these are kind of a glance, the Energizer Station host responsibilities. So signing up for an Energizer Station, reading the Energizer Station host guide, encouraging as many people as possible to pledge to ride, picking up the tote bags, attending a 1-hour Zoom orientation, which this year is Thursday, May 8th, recruiting some volunteers to help staff the booth, coordinating table, chairs, and canopy with the city, and providing refreshments. Next slide, please.
Is the station gonna be again on the Stelling side on the,
Well, you can decide that.
okay,
Yeah, that's part of what you get to choose. So the sign up this year is by April 30th. So I'm just planting the seed now, for you all if you're interested in doing this again this year. And that is the link to sign up. And the decisions you'll need to make in order to sign up are deciding the date that you want to host the table. It's probably most encouraged for that Thursday, but it could also be Friday or Saturday of the mentioned dates. The location that you want to set up the table at, and the time, the amount of hours that you want to run the booth for in the morning. So step 1 is reading that guide, which once you visit the Silicon Valley Bike Coalition website, you'll be and sign up to host the Energizer Station. There's a link to download this guide. And it's also linked in this presentation, and that guide really has everything that you need about hosting the station. Slide. And a big piece that Silicon Valley Bike Coalition has changed is rather than just giving people bags just because they come to the table, they really want people to pledge to ride ahead of time online. So they encourage everybody who's running an Energizer station to really help spread the word for people to pledge. And this just helps them get more of an idea of who's actually riding so that they can get sponsorships and also keep the program going and have like more accurate measurements. So they'll give out a link. I think they're going to create a shorter link in the future. I just talked to them, but that's part of the responsibility of a host station is to just for them. Next responsibility is picking up the tote bags. The time for our county is May 5th, noon to 3 p.m. at the Sports Basement in Sunnyvale. Next slide, please. And then attending a 1-hour Zoom orientation, which this year is Monday, May 8th at 1 p.m. You can register in the station host guide, and if no one is available to attend the live training, there are going to be some available that they really encourage someone to attend just to get the full rundown of the host responsibilities. Next slide. Next is to recruit volunteers to help staff the booth. Maybe bringing friends or family or working with Walk by Cupertino. Yeah, getting people there to encourage people to just be there, spreading good good energy and also can be helpful for stuffing the bags ahead of time too. So recruiting volunteers. Slide, please. Providing some refreshments. So some ideas are fruit, energy bars, coffee, electrolytes, water, etc. And the city will provide up to $100 of reimbursement. You can submit receipts to David. Fine. Yeah, so now I'll just kind of leave it to y'all. Typically we've had one liaison from the Bicycle Pedestrian Commission choose to take this on. And so it's not something that you necessarily need to decide now, but just these are some questions to think about for whoever decides, or whoever or multiple people decide to coordinate. Is just the date, the location, the time of the table, and some dates to remember are to commit to hosting the station by April 30th, to pick up the bags on May 5th, and to attend the training on May 8th. Next slide, please. And so this is what we did last year, I believe. Not the date is updated, so that's just an idea. That's the Thursday date for this year. The location might be McClellan and Stelling, or the Don Burnett Bridge, and time might be 7 to 10 a.m. They really like you to host a station for at least 3 hours. And pre-pandemic, I think we did 6:30 to 10:30 a.m. So these are just some ideas. I think that's it. Next slide.
May 15th, one of the 3 days, right?
Yeah, it's the Thursday.
Thursday. Oh.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Like, any clarifying questions?
So not so much clarified. So I like the name change, bike to wherever day. Because bike to work, is kind of, only for those that are working. So what about others, right? So that looks like, expanding the 3 days is also a good idea. So
One question that I have is, you mentioned the pledge. I remember that every year there is a sort of contest between cities where we see which city has, or which people from which cities have pledged the most. Do we have any kind of historical, we can use it as a proxy probably for the number of people who ride, but is there how to say that, like a variation or trend over the past years of whether that's gone up, down, flat? Do you know that?
I don't know. That data might be.
Okay, it would be
Yeah,
interesting to see
check their website.
if it's growing or not, or if they're doing
Yeah.
things right, because that's what that counts.
Yeah, and they're not doing any kind of citywide or countywide competition this year between cities.
The other thing that I would say more a comment is from historically, from having done that a couple of years in a row, people sort of expect us to be here. Some of them at least. So I think it would make sense to be at the same pace that we were for the past couple of years.
Which is the selling price.
Yes.
Yeah. And would that mean that we would be hosting all 3 days, or could we pick one day, or how do you envision that?
I think you just pick one.
Pick one day out of the 3.
Yeah.
do we have to do that now or?
No, it just
Looks like April 30 would be a
Target deadline.
Yeah, before April 30, yeah.
I'd like to do the Saturday if I can, so. Still, Thursday, Friday will be difficult for me, so. Saturday will be good.
is there someone that wants to take this on as the liaison?
It's like we have at least 1 or 2 more meetings beforehand, we would probably can make the decision, I would expect so.
Yeah, we just wanted to kind of plant the seed.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's great that you get the heads up super
We're
early.
happy to bring this back on the agenda,
Just before it was.
March or April to
Yeah.
to pin down details.
And then assuming the city will provide again the infrastructure like tabling and we can from all the things there, like in prior years. So.
Yeah, typically we've provided, I think, a couple chairs,
Right,
tables.
right.
Canopy.
All the
Provide the
infrastructure.
canopy too. Yeah, we can do the same this year.
Last year it was like two, I believe like the two tents were there.
canopies.
Two canopies,
Mhm.
Sterling.
Yes, yeah.
So the last 2 years, we've done it at the southeast corner of Stelling and McClellan. And yeah, we did have a setup on Stelling and then one on McClellan. And I don't know what we did before that, but and we did it on a Thursday, but you know. And I think we had maybe typically around 65, 70 riders stop.
Mhm,
So
mhm. I would also support Saturday for me, that was be working better personally,
Yeah, I would like
work
Saturday. as well.
schedule wise. If you have the option, it seems like Saturday would be a good choice if you want to say that.
Historically, we've done that on Thursdays.
we did it on, the last 2 years, we've done it on Thursday.
We've always done it on Thursdays. I don't believe it's ever been on a Saturday since we've started.
Because traditionally, bike to work day.
Yeah.
Like, it was always on a Thursday. It was always on a Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So. So I let it up the last 2 years, but I actually won't be here that week, so. You know, if somebody would, you just need someone to. Take charge and, like you said, just attend the training, which is not difficult. And then, you know, coordinate with the city. The city was very good. I got there at 6:30 and I needed one other person to help set up, and actually somebody from Walk by Cupertino helped. And then we set up and then people started coming to staff a little bit later.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then we typically ask, I generally just donate something, you know, coffee or energy bar or something, so everybody typically brings something that's part of the staff. And generally speaking, you can get reimbursed, but I just donate it.
You're not gonna get brought water, right?
Yes, I did, yeah, last time.
And then you have to know the number of bags, and typically I would say like 50 bags. Ask for, because they'll ask you how many bags you want. Maybe ask for a little bit more because they gave me less than what I asked for last year, so. But about 50 bags is a good number, because we gave away 50, I think, the last 2 years. Even though some people will not take a bag, they just don't. And I give you some feedback, people think the bags are too small. Usually go back a number of years, like 10 years ago, the bags are larger, they're more useful. And they're not that useful, you know.
Yeah.
So it's if Silicon Valley Bike Coalition wants some feedback, I think I gave them that feedback. They're actually fairly small. So, but and I can't think of anything else. But and the city was very good. They helped take down at 10 o'clock. And by 10 o'clock, usually you don't see many more riders.
Yeah, it's usually the morning commute.
So,
Yeah, it's typically because of the location, the people who are, you know, going northbound, they stop by the station because it's easier for them, especially on Sterling. And similarly, the people who are going on McClellan, you know, they stop by only on the south, eastbound, right? Yeah,
Right.
because of the location.
Traffic patterns.
Something like that.
The most difficult ones, people driving southbound on River, because they have to cross. The ones that come westbound from McClellan, in general, it's easier for them because they have the protected bike lane, so it's easier for them to take a turn and come to us.
Is there any advantage if we settle on a date today, or should we just postpone that as well?
I think we can, you know, if all of us agree to it, then.
You're
we
already
can
here, all
pick a
fine.
date. Otherwise, we can give it some time on them.
the day.
We can, yeah,
And the rest of the decisions we can make later.
yeah,
But I think everybody can calendar it and plan for it accordingly.
sure, yeah. So it's 15th, Thursday, or?
So I don't know if you're making a motion, but I do make a motion, if we allow motions for the topic here.
Do we need a motion?
I don't
Like just
think,
a-
yeah, I don't think we need a motion.
Okay. It looks like, I think Saturday was kind of the date that most people were able to.
At least I prefer because like I typically have early morning meetings. So last time I did partially because I wasn't able to come for the
Yeah.
entire
Yeah,
3 hours. But same thing will be this year as well.
same for me. I can do all Saturday.
Saturday means I can
However
do
long we need,
3 hours.
but I have limited time on Thursday. Okay.
Yeah, the only thing is it won't be a commute at that time. So possibly that people who are recreational bikers or anybody who are.
It will take longer probably.
They would.
Flexible on time as well.
You may have, reduced volume.
Produce, okay.
You probably will. I think you will.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, there are recreational riders on Saturday, but not nearly the volume that you get. Because there are a lot of riders that just ride to work. It is still, it's probably the greatest percentage. When you talk to people, they're going to work.
And I think from a, correct me if I'm wrong, but generally the stations, most of the stations happen on Thursdays and not on Friday or Saturday.
Believe so, yeah.
That's a possibility because people may not go to work on Fridays, like it's so Thursday. If you wanted to really target the, people who are biking to work, then it's better to pick Thursday as opposed to Friday.
And you also get school kids.
Yeah.
On Thursday, which you
Mhm.
probably won't on
Mhm.
Saturday.
Mhm.
So,
For Saturday, I would need to verify that our city crews,
But they aren't available.
it would be overtime, which it probably would be okay, but I just need to confirm with their supervisors that way.
I see. Okay.
Maybe there are people that can make it work on Thursday. Should go for it, but it won't work for me because for me, that's a 5 days to office type of environment, so I go to work every day, so.
But at least someone needs to be there the morning to coordinate it, right? Because as you said, right, you do get.
well, somebody needs to take charge of the station and you tell them how many bags you want, then you pick them up, it's at Sports Basement. Near the home.
Yeah.
So it's- and that's where you pick up. And then you bring those and then I usually bring some food and then some other vendors bring food. And Walk by Cupertino has been very helpful. I'm sure they will provide volunteers and food and donations also for the station. I say that, but hopefully they're available. I mean, typically it's been on Thursday, that's why. And Saturday. That may be fine too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can sell on a Saturday, I'd be happy to be that liaison or lead or whatever it needs to be happening and help coordinating everything. But like, yeah, Thursday, Fridays work for me, I just can't do it.
So I can make time for if we go on a Thursday.
Mhm.
I just think,
Okay.
yeah. Logistical, the coordination with the city and so work by Cupertino and.
If that's the case, I can only do like a part of the time, but if Saturday means like, I know that it's a new thing we will be trying it. But
Stick
So
with
if you
what
what we are, what
Yeah.
was, I think.
the
Yeah,
best, right, for
sure.
the
So if
people that
you-
we are serving, right? Thursday is best for, serving the bikers. and-
Yes, then we should stick with the Thursday, even knowing that we have limited ability from them.
So if you're willing to, take charge, then in that case. So Thursday it is.
Sounds good.
Thank you. And closer to April 30th, maybe we can again discuss and. I mean, typically what we do is like we bring, each one of us can volunteer to provide some goodies. As far as me personally, I might be able to come in for part of the time depending on my meetings. Typically, I won't be able to skip the early morning meetings. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so here I will also be able to contribute. items. If that is what is beneficial, scheduling wise,
Fine, thank you. Anything else you need from us?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
So there's no public comment on this item, so we conclude this item and then we'll go on to the next one. Thank you.
thank you, Chelsea. Good to see you again.
A nice rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
All right, the next item is item number 4, which is bicycle facilities improvements. And this one has been, it's part of the city work program item, and we have had multiple discussions on this topic. So David Stillman will be providing an update on this, and I think he's expecting a recommendation from us.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, one request, David, like, so something on this item which is more substantive in nature. I was just browsing through the slide set. If you're asking for a direction or recommendation, it'll be good if you can include this as part of the packet, agenda packet that was sent to us. So that way all the commissioners will have time to review it before we make a decision here. Thank you.
Okay, good evening again, commissioners. Advance my slide will be off. There we go. All right, so a little bit of a background on this item. Back in fiscal year 2022-2023, City Council approved a work plan item to take a look at bicycle facilities and specifically to increase inventory of bicycle facilities throughout the city. They allocated $50,000 for this effort. And following that, a BPC subcommittee was formed to assist city staff in implementing the project so that we would be able to do some work outside of the Brown Act, the Bike Commission meetings. Following that, the Rotary Club of Cupertino expressed interest in partnering with the city in promoting bicycle usage, and they have been investigating locations for bike racks in front of private businesses as well as on city property in parks and along streets. They've been coordinating efforts with the BPC subcommittee. The locations that are in front of private businesses are still in progress. To my knowledge, there hasn't been any real progress in terms of having any of the businesses agree to have new bike rack installations in front of their storefronts, but there is some progress made with respect to identifying locations for bike racks on city property. As part of this effort, there was a memorandum of understanding between the city and the Rotary Club that was executed in February of 2024 that specifically addresses the locations for bike racks that are going to be on city property. And the agreement basically says that the Rotary is responsible for purchasing and installing the bike racks at locations that are mutually acceptable to the city and the Bike Commission and Bike Commission Subcommittee. And the city agrees to reimburse $250 to the Rotary Club per bicycle space up to the $50,000 limit that was approved by the City Council. And what that $250 means is that if there's a single bike rack that can hold 4 bikes, we would reimburse them $1,000 per rack. It's per bicycle space. So the Rotary and the BPC subcommittee completed identifying an initial list of 6 recommended locations, rack designs, and so that's what I like to present to you this evening for your feedback.
So the budget could accommodate up to 200 bikes.
So if if the Rotary is involved in all of those installations, then yes. The idea though is that as you'll see, the Rotary wanted to do some artistic designs for the bike racks in order to make them more visible and to promote biking. And those are, of course, more expensive than your typical shape racks. We were hoping, the city was hoping that for the balance of the $50,000 that isn't put towards the reimbursement to the Rotary, that we would fund some less expensive bike racks, but more of them so that we could put them throughout the city. So that's, and how much money goes to the Rotary, how much goes to that remains to be seen, but we'd like to be able to do a balance of sort of quantity versus quality, if you will, because the individual the shirt stick racks are kind of expensive, but
So are you saying, if city does that, it will be cheaper than to tipper bike space? Is that what I'm getting?
it would probably be, it would be about the $250 per bike that we are reimbursing the Rotary for theirs is about roughly equivalent to what we would spend in total for a cheaper bike rack.
Twice.
It's
To put how many bikes?
so it'd be like your typical U rack or inverted U that would hold maybe 2 bikes.
Okay.
So that's how we developed the 250 number. Is the city initially wanted to just put in a lot of racks everywhere. But the Rotary wanted to do this special project with the artistic racks in specific places. And so we said, okay, we'll support that effort. We don't want to, the city doesn't want to spend any more money on those racks than we would to install the normal racks throughout the city. So we will provide an equivalent amount to you for those artistic racks on less expensive.
Once they're installed, the city would maintain.
The city will maintain, yes, correct.
And do we get the same number of racks that the city would have otherwise done on our side without artists?
That's the hope.
Okay, so which means that they committed for the remaining dollars.
So the Rotary is picking up the slack from the extra money that is required to
Make them
order and
more
install the more artistic bike
Mhm.
racks.
Okay.
So the 6 locations that have been identified so far between the Rotary and the BPC subcommittee, these are all, as I mentioned, on public right of way, either in parks or on the street. The McClellan Ranch and probably not the blacksmith shop. We'll talk about that, but McClellan Ranch, the Memorial Park, Library Field, Wilson Park, Cafe Lati, it's actually the park strip in front of the cafe, and then similarly in front of Wow Tea, Stevens Street Boulevard. So this was the original proposal from the Rotary on location at McClellan Ranch, which was proposed to be next to a blacksmith shop. And the idea was to, the philosophy behind the locations that were chosen was to place them in areas with relatively heavy pedestrian activity, but not too close to like parked cars or the street. And that's in order to discourage theft from somebody just stealing a bike, throwing it in the back of a car and then taking off. So they wanted to be away from cars, but along areas where there's still a lot of foot traffic in order to be visible and to be useful for people that are riding bikes, to be easily accessible, to be able to lock up the bike. So originally the thought was to put it next to the blacksmith shop at McClellan Ranch, and you see the design there. It's kind of a wagon wheel design to go along with the theme of the ranch. We did pass these locations on to our Parks and Rec department for their feedback. And there were some concerns with that particular location next to the blacksmith shop. And those are, I noted those here, that the area is intended to be used for nature activities, and they have plans ultimately to put benches there. It's also part of an area that's dedicated to a former staff member, and the area is needed for water access to ensure safety during the use of the forge at the blacksmith shop. They have to be able to get fire apparatuses and such in that area. So the Parks and Rec director did not want to put it at that location and instead proposed the location that left there. And then I've circled it also on the aerial photo on the right. You kind of see the red circle. It's across the street, well, from the blacksmith shop. And I guess that's the only pictures. So that's the location that Parks and Rec director proposed in lieu of the location next to the blacksmith shop. So this is still a work in progress. I need feedback from the commission on that location, or if there's other locations at McClellan Ranch that would be acceptable. I'd certainly love to hear.
Is the bike rack going to be the image that you showed in the previous, the lead?
Yeah, that's what the Rotary has proposed. It hasn't been purchased yet. So again, if this is up for discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Because I'm not seeing anything artistic there other than, you know, it's an advertisement for Rotary. Right. Yeah, I was imagining, you know, if it's artistic, you know, it's like, you know, something beautiful, you know, conveys something, you know, some message, you know, towards, but it just looks like, you know, the ad space.
I think the idea was the wagon wheel. It's a ranch. That was the intent.
Are you looking for feedback on that location, David?
I can either go through the whole slideshow and then we can.
Yeah, why don't we go through the whole show and then we can come
Okay.
back for discussion. There's no public in here, so we can really do
Okay,
the discussions after the presentation.
sure.
Yeah, please ask any clarifying questions and we can have a discussion later.
Okay, great. Second location, Memorial Park. Again, this was originally proposed by the Rotary as being the concrete area near the amphitheater. The design is the sharp design you see there on the bottom right. This was another location that the Parks and Rec director had some concerns with. Essentially that the area is widely used by festivals, the Veterans Day Band and other events. So it'd be kind of in the way of the proposed location. And instead, she proposed a couple of other potential spots, as you can see there on the aerial photo on the left. One being near the parking lot, softball field, and the other is next to the pathway, the gazebo. And there's photographs on the right there. I think, Joel, we took those pictures. Thank you for that. Show the location there next to the one that's on the pathway to the gazebo, just to give you a sense of where that is. Third location, Library Field. The design there in the lower right are cat bubbles. The location would be kind of in the little bulb out area, parking spaces across the drive aisle from the library. And that location was acceptable. The rest of them were all acceptable to the Parks and Rec. Fourth, Wilson Park, mid park between the toddler playground. Location there. The salmon is the design. There's a nice wide area of asphalt there. That would be a good spot for rack. And you can see a little red on the top there where that location is. Location 5 and 6 are along Boulevard. You can see on the over the local ice cream cone, coffee mug. These would be located in the park strip. It's a wide park strip in those locations. More or less in front of those particular storefronts. This is on city property.
So that you concrete, or is it just
So yes, a concrete pad would need to be poured for each of the that are on dirt. The asphalt locations we could probably secure those directly to the asphalt, I would think. Could have to look at the installation instructions for the racks. But we probably wouldn't need separate concrete poured for that. So this is a summary of the costs. The number of bike spaces that
Can you
we,
show the wall, P? I don't remember.
I'm sorry?
Did we see the last one?
Yeah, there were two of them on that slide.
Oh, there are two, okay. Oh, I see. Okay, I see, yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of close to each other.
I'm wondering, David, 2 bikes seems like a small number for the effort. Is this because of space constraints or, because I'm assuming that the cost of a 4-bike storage would be the same, almost the same as for a 2-bike.
In terms of the cost of the bike rack.
And the installation is about the same, right? So I'm just wondering why we even would do a 2-bike instead of a 4-bike in those locations. Why wouldn't we do a minimum 4-bike?
We could,
I'm just thinking.
yeah, that's what the manufacturer says can be accommodated with these designs. So this.
So the design, it's constrained by the design.
So it's probably, yeah, I would say it's constrained by the design. And these were chosen by the Rotary and the subcommittee. So this is certainly something that can be discussed and
I mean, especially if the
modified.
cost is almost the same for a 2-bike versus a 4-bike.
Yeah, so these are the costs for the total cost of racks and the city contribution for each based upon the number of bike spaces that can be accommodated. So yeah, city, so 6,500 would come out of the $50,000 and the rest would be borne by the Rotary.
The library field, 2-bike spaces seems like a small number as well. We really want to promote this actively and heavily. 2 will be always busy, I guess.
So is that it? Is that the last slide?
Yes, that's the end of the, yeah, so essentially we're just seeking input on the locations and the designs. So the McClellan Ranch and Memorial Park locations, as I mentioned, we had those proposed revisions. Any feedback on that would be great. And then once all the designs have been and locations have been approved, endorsed by the Bike Commission, then this is actually incorrect. The concrete pad installation will be borne by the Rotary as well. So.
What is it, owned by what?
I'm sorry?
What is that will be owned by what Rotary is that?
The installation of the concrete pads. My last bullet, I said staff to proceed with installation of concrete pads. It's actually reading the MOU closer. The Rotary is responsible for all aspects of installation. And then the city takes over the maintenance of it following that.
Do you have a photo or design for the non-artistic versions as well that you have in mind, or is that something that?
I can find one. I don't have one off the top of my head, but generally it would be, the U-shaped, but that's also something that's open for discussion. If there's a design that the commission likes, that's kind of a standard, something that's cost efficient.
Yeah.
Easy to install, then
Understood.
I'm certainly happy to take that recommendation.
My understanding is that the Rotary are only interested in artistic back racks, so there will be no contribution from the Rotary. It's not an artistic back rack.
That's my understanding. And as I mentioned, the cost for the non-artistic bike racks is about the 250 per space anyway, so.
So it's pretty much cost neutral for the city.
Exactly.
The additional benefit of the Rotary would be artistic
Yes.
scenario, but the cost wise, it's the same for the city.
So that concludes the presentation. I'm happy to go back to any of the locations if you'd like to discuss them further.
Thank you. We can go around and if you have any suggestion, I think you haven't, Joe, you haven't spoken, so you still have any.
So I had a comment on the McClellan Ranch location that was selected by the Parks and Rec Department. So I did look at that a couple of days ago, and my main comment is that the criteria that I think the Rotary and the subcommittee was looking at is far enough away from a parking lot so that it can reduce the potential for bike theft. And this location's right next to the parking lot, so. I think this one would be, you know, what I would think is the Rotary would want to have some input on a new location. But probably would not like this location. And that's my input on that.
I would agree with that, like, regardless of the Rotary, I think we as a BPC also have our vote, and given that we're the voice of the community here, I'm pretty sure that the background that's put here would not be very used, because it's too close to cars, and there's too big a risk of theft. While you were showing the presentation, it reminded me that we also looked at an alternate site that was next to the community gardens, at the entrance of the community gardens. That's probably a better slot because it's visible from afar. So from an artistic standpoint, people could enjoy it. But also it would be far away from the parking lot, and that's still a place that would be valuable for people who want to go into the community gardens. They could put their bikes there, and that would be more used, I think, than this location. So just a suggestion as to where to put it.
David, do you know if there are any concerns with the location that Commissioner Marcy just brought up? I remember looking at that location.
Yeah, then there already is a rack, if I recall, one of the more basic racks that could either be replaced with an artistic one if the Rotary wanted to do that, or I believe you could maybe put another one on the other side of the door to the community gardens. So I don't know if Parks and Rec has concerns about that. I think they would probably be okay as long as it's out of the way of the, you know, the entrance to the community gardens. But I can ask.
So do you need to vote and approve it today?
No.
Because I would like to go and see those
Mhm.
locations, you know, and get a first-hand experience.
Sure.
I bike a lot and I stop at a lot of places, and you know, places I stop is not always, you know, where the bike racks are. I'm like, you know, okay, so I just wanted to look at it from that point of view.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I can provide you with the presentation, or I think it'll be on the on our website to help you locate the spots if you need it.
I think that's pretty helpful, actually.
Yeah, and then we can I can bring this back
Yeah,
in a month or two. And
I prefer that, because that way, you know, we had an opportunity to go check it out.
Yep.
And then when we vote and approve it, you know, we are making an informed decision.
Sure.
Instead of doing it blindly.
Yeah, so also it will be good if you can provide us suggestions, like for example, the community garden is an alternate site, right? Closer to, so if we have other recommendations from the city, you can point that to us before the meeting, so we can take a look at it.
Do we have any data on the bike racks where we installed already? How they're getting utilized? Like, you know, are there some bike racks, you know, where the library one has got to be the busiest one, right? And are there bike racks where, you know, it's rarely, you know, anybody's using it, so it's a waste of money, right? So that kind of data, you know, would help.
we don't have that kind of data. I mean, just based on my observation, the racks in front of the library are pretty heavily used. The ones back next to the community hall, not quite as much. But I don't have any hard data on usage.
Yeah, I also see some bikes permanently parked in front of the library.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise them.
I just have one more comment. I mean, I like the designs. There's a shark, it looks like, and a salmon. But it looks like there's like some sharp pointed edges, and I'm wondering if that's going to be a problem for the city. You know, the snout, and then on the salmon, and also the snout, you know, are there any safety concerns with little kids running into those points? I mean, it's like, you know, I don't know. I mean, I bring one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid question, Joel. And one that I hadn't thought of, so
Good,
I asked the question.
and just
Yeah,
If you look at it that way, even a single, a kid could also run into it. That's kind of the same.
yeah, I would think it would probably need to conform to whatever guidelines that playgrounds would need to follow for them. So
Are those stock items or are those designed specifically for those cases?
I don't know.
We'll go back to the, sorry, go ahead, Vinny.
No, I'm just guessing on the product stock items.
So to go back to the issue that was raised by Commissioner Eshelberg, right? So how many, I mean, I think we need to set on the two, which looks too little, and especially in front of that cafe latte, where it's frequented by high school kids. So it's going to have more spaces there. I think it's a good idea to have, at least my opinion is like 4 is the minimum or more than up to. But if you go back to this,
Especially if the
Right.
cost of 2 is almost the same as 4, right? I mean, it probably makes it.
but even otherwise, like if you go back to this, the table that you had, David, that shows the budget as well. We had like 50K allocated by the city. So it means that are we keeping the remaining dollar, the amount for future park, spaces, or is it, do we still have more to contribute?
We still have the $50,000,
Right.
the balance between
Correct. See,
6,500.
the budget is not a constraint. So if space is a constraint, then I understand. But if it is
Right.
not, then we should look for more spaces.
Mhm.
But your vision, I think, is to fill up the rest of the money with city,
Other
city paid or city, the non-artistic ones, I guess. So.
Yeah, I'm a practical engineer, so my original idea with the item for the work plan is to accommodate as many bikes as possible throughout the city.
okay.
So that's why. So yes, that would be my.
I know that the Rotary works also according to fiscal year, they have budgeting that's pretty, as a non-profit, they have a budgeting exercise to make happen. So I'm curious in terms of deadline, like is there a deadline for the Rotary in terms of payments, or how does it work?
I believe I'd have to double check the MOU. I think the Rotary, there was a timeline on which they needed to spend the money that they've promised to contribute. So I would need to check the MOU for that. As far as the city funding goes, there's not really a deadline. I mean, council expects progress on the item because it was a city work program item, but there's no hard deadline.
I don't know the exact which expression, I think it's something like the best is the enemy of the good, and find it better if we manage to make it on time and benefit from the money from the Rotary and make things happen, as opposed to trying to change a lot of things that may make us run over in terms of asking for permission to the Rotary, in terms of, not restarting from scratch, but making a lot of changes. And I'd rather see that being executed. And then if we can do more, the more the merrier for sure. But I'd rather have this program being executed and done, as opposed to us run over and run into issues in terms of timing.
So that's a good point. And as for the location, I only see that McLaren Ranch is the only one which we haven't decided on the location. But otherwise, from the commission members, right? You don't have any issue with the location for all the places, right?
So the new Memorial Park location is acceptable to everybody, the one on the
That's why
path to
we want
the.
to go back and make sure that at least we agree on the location.
I think it would be great, as Moni suggested, to maybe give ourselves a week or 2 or 3 to kind of look at the
Look at
location.
the-
check it
okay.
Yeah, I think this is all very new information, so I think it would be awesome to spend at least maybe next meeting, maybe bring it back to the next meeting, and then probably I think we should.
So maybe we need to understand the timeline, when we can bring it back. The second thing is like, maybe when we are discussing with Rotary, we could always say that, minimum is like 4. On the same location, if they have to increase it from 2 to 4, I don't think it will be a big change, right? Maybe that's something that we can give them a heads up. So they know that, they need to support minimum of 4.
Especially at the library, at some critical places. Everywhere.
Okay, so any other,
And is there a list maybe already, David, of follow-on locations, or is that TBD, the kind of the other ones that you have in mind in terms of your?
There was a longer list that was put together a year or two ago when we were first looking at this, and then it got kind of narrowed down to the ones we're looking at. So,
I know there was some on the close to the post office for a while. But they didn't make it.
yeah, well, that's we're these were constant focused on spots that are city property, and the post office location was on federal.
Us,
We don't have jurisdiction.
will be a lot.
any other?
Great. Overall great program. I think it's good to see that happen.
Okay, so I will, I can work with you, Chair, on when to bring this back, but we'll bring it back, March or April for further discussion, and I will find out what I can about any deadlines for spending money.
Okay. Thank you. And can you post this or email it to the commissioners?
The
Presentation, yeah.
yeah, it'll be on the, I can do that, but it'll also be on the city's webpage shortly after the meeting
Okay, sounds good.
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Okay. That'll be good. That works.
You also have a copy of the slide at your place.
Yes, we do. Okay, thank you.
Great.
All right, anything else on this agenda item? Yeah, if none, then let's close this agenda item, move on to the next one. So this is the staff and commission reports. So we'll start with the staff update first.
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple of things. Most of you are probably aware the City Council approved the contract a couple of weeks ago for McClellan Class 4 Protected Bikeway Phase 2A. Stevens Creek Protected Bike, which is from Wolf to the Anza Boulevard. So we are starting on that. We're getting the contract executed, and our hope is to have that done by the Bike Fest in September. We are also starting on the development of the active transportation plan. So we've had a kickoff. Alta, who is the consultant that we've hired, they're the same consultants that did our bike plan. And in fact, the same project manager that did the bike plan is working on the active. So there's a pretty robust outreach strategy as part of this plan. Hope to have that wrapped up in about a 15-month timeframe. I would like to bring this to the Bike Commission in March, actually, to have our consultant come and provide an overview of the plan schedule and what we hope to achieve. So we can talk about that offline.
Yeah, I had the list. Yes, first time. Yes. For future agenda items, when we discuss that, we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we'd certainly like to bring that here sooner rather than later, so we could make sure that we're on the right track as we go down this process. But as part of that project, we're scoped for 4 community meetings, 2 of which would be virtual, 2 of which would be in person. And then 6 pop-up events at places throughout the city that we're still trying to pin down. I think 3 bike commission meetings and 2 city council meetings as part of it. So it's just an overview, but excited about the project. It's gonna be a good product when we're done.
So what's the timeline for completion?
About 15 months.
15 months.
So like spring of next year, more or less, is when we hope to come to council for adoption. And that's project updates. And then I just want to remind.
Any update on Vision Zero next steps? The action plan was adopted.
Yeah, the action plan was adopted. we've started to put together we're still working on that. A lot going on. So we're starting to put together a website that people, or a page on the website that people can use to go in and we want to start being able to document locations where there are, I guess, unreported either accidents or near misses, because we heard a lot about that. Looking at the accident record, the documented accident record isn't necessarily an accurate representation of where all of the safety problems are, and that we should focus on near misses and, you know, minor accidents. You know, maybe if a car taps a bike, no one's hurt, you know, so it's an incident, but it doesn't get reported. So a portal for people to go in and to log these things, so we can start a running database of where these safety concerns are happening. That was one of the items that was in our action list from Division 0. There are also items related to education that are being wrapped into our Safe Routes to School program that we're working on now. So that's some of the work that's started on Vision 0 so far.
Maybe it'll be good to have an update to the commission.
Mhm.
Can have an agenda item so we can
Sure,
discuss that.
sure.
There was supposed to be a task force that was supposed to be formed as well to
Correct.
periodically meet and monitor.
Yes. And then I want to remind the commissioners that haven't already to provide their bio and a nice picture, mugshot, so that we can update our website with all of your pretty faces.
Okay. Move on. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Any commissioner?
Oh, do we still?
I have a report because I'm the liaison to the VTAC, so there were a couple of meetings that happened. One of them that was very interesting is the fact that the VTA BPAC has mentioned their intent to work with the Union Pacific Railroad in order to convert the existing railway that also goes along across Cupertino into either a transit corridor or a walking and biking trail, or both, a combination of both. However, the level of confidence for that to happen quickly was very low, and they mentioned that they were expecting something to happen maybe 30 years from now, whenever, because the problem is that the quarry needs somehow some of the trains to get their equipment away when they're going to evacuate, and so they will still need the rail tracks to transport everything away, and so that's why it's going to take a lot of time. And as David knows, the Union Pacific Railroad is not exactly the easiest organizations to work with. So, so there was a little bit of enthusiasm to see that there was let's say, an interest, an intent to make that happen, but we'll see how long that's going to take to actually be executed. Another thing is the Stevens Creek corridor. There was also something that was mentioned because it's a cross-jurisdictional project with the cities of San Jose and Santa Clara. And so there was a presentation about the various options that were mentioned in terms of transit, of course, because that's from a VTA standpoint, that matters a lot to them, but also from a bicycle and pedestrian standpoint. Being the representative of the city of Cupertino, that made our city look very good in front of the others. When you look at the map in terms of protected bike lanes that are in place today, as well as the ones that are going to come very soon, I think that made us look much better than Santa Clara or San Jose, and that was something to cheer. Last thing is one thing. During the last meeting, there was a mention from the chair of the VTA BPAC, who mentioned that there is the beginning of an community outreach for the East Channel in Sunnyvale. And the reason it impacts Cupertino is it's a trail that runs from Homestead through the bay. And the reason it backs Cupertino is obviously that we could actually have something around the lines of having directly from Blaney a bike road going directly into the bay. So something to think about. Not going to be completely straight. There are still things, but they're starting the community outreach in order to make things happen at some point in time. So I can send to David the link with the community outreach and you can share it in the bike community and pedestrians too.
Okay,
Please.
thank you. Is that on the first item you were mentioning, were they expecting Union Pacific Railroad, right? So were they expecting any input from the city on the commission?
No. It's
It's just information.
just informational. As I said, it was just VTA showed an intent.
Okay.
Nothing more than that.
Okay. Anything to update us?
If you ride, I'm just gonna say, if you ride up to the guess it's the old cement plant, there's a sign that says they'll be bringing in, I think it's 30 million cubic yards of fill. So that's the very big. I mean, that would take, that's probably why they're going to be using that railroad, right? Is that?
Yeah, there's that as well as the equipment that has to be from the quarry that's actually currently located on the quarry that has to be transported away. So that
Because of the size of
Yes.
the huge machine.
Yeah, exactly.
The old cement plant.
Yeah, the cement plant, the crane,
Kiln and all the things, yeah.
tractors, whatever they use to extract cement.
Okay, is there anything else you want to report? All right, thank you for that update. Was there any mayor meeting that happened in the last mayor's meeting? Any update from mayor's meeting?
Not that I can.
Okay. Because typically it's like a monthly once meeting since October, no meeting happened, is it?
Not that I can.
Okay,
Usually I get an email from Deborah, say stuff, and I haven't said anything. So.
I think it's every other month, and then every other meeting is live, and the other one's Zoom. So I think that's the way it works.
all right, so that ends the item number 5. So with that, let's move to the next item, which is the future agenda setting. And we have a list of future agenda items. Kim, can you please bring it up? Yeah, I have some suggestions and we can ask the commissioners if they have any suggestions for the future agenda items.
So I like to suggest, the item that one of the gentlemen brought up, the safety on the Tory,
Yeah.
right? Because I personally have seen a few times where when I went to library, I've seen kids, like on a skateboard or something, coming zooming fast, really fast, and they just, get onto the road, and there are cars, parked, and and the cars that are coming, may not be able to see the kid, that's just trying to cross on a skateboard, full speed, and so it's a disaster waiting to happen. So we need to do something about that, Tory Road, in terms of, slowing down the cars on that street, right?
Okay.
Because the kids, in the library, they come on skateboards and, and stuff like that, and they're just, zipping. And we cannot change kids' behavior. We have to now accommodate. And we need to avoid, at all possible costs, any disaster that could happen there, right? So I know he was asking about the flashlights crossing, but I think, we need to do more than that.
Maybe we can, in general, because we can't discuss the item.
Yeah.
We can
So-
say it's a
But I think
pedestrian safety on Torrey Avenue.
Tory Avenue, yes.
Instead
I
of
would like to
having
put it
been
on the
specific, we can keep it broader, but that way we can discuss more. Yeah, that sounds good, right? Any other suggestions?
Have the dates been set already for some of the events in the spring and fall? Usually the city always does bike events. It would be nice to get a heads up on those as well in the calendar. I don't know if they've been calendared. I think there's usually one in September and one in the April timeframe where the commission has been participating actively. It would be nice to.
We usually get a presentation about a month ahead of time. bond, the.
Right.
For the,
Right. I'm just wondering if the dates have been set. I'm just looking for the dates at this point so that we put it on the calendar, all of us.
Yeah, we can ask this, I mean, you can ask this, I mean, if you want the dates upfront, then maybe we can ask the, the staff.
Yeah, maybe we
Who's
don't
coordinating?
I can provide those.
Doesn't even have to be on the list here, but I just.
Yeah, I don't know if we need an agenda item.
Yeah, we don't need an agenda item for that, right?
so usually it's two things with that, in terms of events, the commission takes part to, that's, bike to work day and the.
Bike Fest.
These are the two items.
Yeah, thought there was
And
some.
the date for the Bike Fest has been said. I think it's the last Saturday in September, I believe. That's what it usually is. So I believe that's the same thing this year, but I can double check that. and get back.
Maybe offline you can.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be
I
like.
can send you that information.
Yeah.
Date for Bike Fest, okay. I have a few items that I noted down. So one is that the bicycle pedestrian plan, right, or the active transportation plan. So that we can, there's a top item, the first one, work plan item.
Active transportation.
Yeah, to change that active transportation plan. Okay, that's one thing. And the second one is the Vision Zero next steps. I think that's also a work, I don't know whether it's called as a work projects, maybe you can have it as. Because it's already exited the work plan stream.
So two commissioners need to agree to put things on the list, so there's at least one other
Yeah.
commissioner.
Yeah, we have not been so strict about that one, as long as there is a census, unless there is an people oppose it, then yes.
Just one other person.
Yeah. And then, yeah, anything else?
I'd like to request, a report, staff report or something of that sort on if it's already done, just point me to that. So, what is the difference that we see in terms of, the bike ridership on the McClellan after we installed, transport bike lane, right? Because I don't know, I'm sure there is a data that was done, before the separated bike lane. And if you have collected data, after that recently, then, I'd like to see, the results of, the work that's been done, right?
Just one other commissioner agreed to put that on there.
I think we had this thought to put some monitoring cameras in place in a few strategic locations on the city on the new facilities that we built. I don't know if this yielded any data or if we have any data. So I think it's kind of consistent with what Moni is saying. I think we're planning to use technology to kind of monitor the activity on those new bike lanes, and kind of use the data to make future decisions.
Future decisions, yeah.
So I don't know if that actually materialized, that installation of the technology.
We do have cameras now at certain locations that can do. At the intersections. I can't necessarily attest for the accuracy of the data. Supposed to be pretty good. But so we do have that in places.
Is the data accessible or
Not
like historical data?
It's generally not. So usually we have to program it to record for a certain period of time.
But it's worth, I think, to keep this as a separate item for a future meeting to discuss what can be done moving forward. I think technology is pretty good today to allow us to get better data. Because it really helps prioritize things as well. Yeah.
One thing that I would recommend is if you do the before and after data, which I think is valuable, is also to combine that with the data on safety. And if the usage is flat, but the accidents or collisions are going down, that's a positive. And of course, we want to have the collisions down and the usage up. But yeah, I think it would be good to have this view, combine the two views of this as well.
Yeah, in general, it's good to have before and after data for any improvements that we do in the city. We are making intersection improvements like on Dianza and McLaren, we did intersection improvements. It came to this similarly on Stevens Creek and Dianza. So that plus the separated bike lanes, right? So and similarly, Wolf on Stevens Creek did some improvements.
Right, that camera
Yeah,
should
that-
actually show us some data because that's a camera specifically for bicycle detection, right?
It's,
Stevens Creek Wolf, that
it's not, well, no, the camera does vehicle and bicycle detection.
cannot differentiate between. them.
It can differentiate, but I don't believe that one counts.
They store the data or not?
It's a
Just the
detector
detection.
camera, just to
And-
detect presence for the purpose of operating the traffic signal, but it's not
It's not
data
that
collection for volumes.
So in general, we can bring the topic and discuss for what is available. Maybe we can look at it, but what is not available, maybe it could be an input for a future on how to collect. Maybe bike lanes and intersections, you can say, the major intersections. Intersection improvements of something. And okay, two other items I noted down because typically a commission, we didn't meet the last quarter, but typically the commission has an agenda item specifically to discuss the recommendations for water plants, city water plan item. And I believe that the council is meeting on March 2nd for discussing the city water program.
The council did not want to solicit input from the commissions this year. So that's why we did not have an item this year.
Okay. Okay, do we still? It's absolutely
We can
not.
talk about it, but we're not,
It's not going.
it's not going anywhere. Yeah.
Technically, we can make a motion for a recommendation to city council.
That's what we did
for
last year.
some- No, well, not last year, because
Yeah.
last year the council solicited the input from the commission. We can make an unsolicited offer to council by saying this is what we think is right, but
Okay,
I'll leave that.
that's fine. We'll leave that one out. Then the other one which we normally discuss is CIP projects.
Usually those things come together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually it comes together.
Yeah.
And do you still take input from the commission? If that's the case, then we need to have that.
I think we were planning on doing that. So I'll check with Susan and see what her plans are this year.
Maybe in that case, then we can put that in the CIP plan for 2025-6, right? Next fiscal year. Okay, so that's, there was one item which was there, like Rodriguez Avenue, we already had that discussion last month, or last in October, so maybe we should remove that.
Where did you see that?
I think it's further up actually.
It's further up, I think, the projects.
The projects?
Here it is, third line. One more. up.
Yeah, the Dianza, not the Dianza Boulevard, oh, even that is done, right? The Dianza Boulevard buffered bike lanes is,
Oh, this one right here?
yeah,
Staff update, Rodriguez Avenue.
yes, that's one.
Delete that?
Yeah, we already had an agenda is that and had the discussion on that in October. And similarly, the buffered bike lanes already, it must be already in construction, there's one in Dianza Boulevard. That was in
The
the
Diaz
project.
Boulevard buffered bike lane project is done.
Yeah. That can be
The
removed.
Stevens Street corridor vision study that we've noted there is the one that will be the joint meeting when we get that scheduled.
Okay, so the other one is in the next one, the projects, the buffered bike lanes is in the next one. Yeah, the Dianza,
Eliminate.
that one is done. Okay,
And I don't, it's up to you, Chair, but I don't know that we need to have the phase 3 Stevens Street Boulevard on there. I mean, at some point we'll talk about it, but it's going to be a long time from now.
okay, because I thought that the council approved additional money for the design of phase 2
2B,
to be. Maybe we can.
but
change
that
phase
wouldn't
3
be
to
even
phase
constructed until the following fiscal year, and then phase 3 would be after that. So we're looking way down the
Phase
horizon.
2B is up to 85.
Yeah.
So should we include that as a phase 2 or phase 2B?
You can change that to 2B. That would be
Yeah.
more relevant to.
More relevant
It's happening now.
If you're doing any progress on that, you want to bring it.
Yeah,
to the commission.
and we'll bring that to the commission.
Sounds good, yes. I think we kind of, I mean, just for the commissioners, I think both of you, for the new commissioners, right, we have been maintaining this list of agenda items to be transparent. So the public can provide inputs or we can provide inputs of the commissions.
Great.
And then the chair and the staff would normally have at the discretion, depending on what's priority for that month, we will bring it up in the following month's agenda. Yeah.
Can I suggest a couple more?
Sure.
Eliminations? Just because they're pretty much completed. So the speed limit reduction study on Blaney, well, we haven't done Rodriguez yet, but we did McClellan and Blaney. Those are done. So we can probably eliminate McClellan and Blaney from that. And actually Rodriguez will be done as part of this. The following item that says speed limit studies, we're probably going to actually do those speed limit studies over the spring or summer of this year. And
So should we have two items then? Then in that case, we just need.
I would just say one item.
One item, speed limit studies in general.
Just speed limit
We
studies.
can bring it, individual projects within that.
I find it valuable to have the name of the streets. That we know exactly which ones we're talking about, so.
Well, the speed limit studies we're gonna do in the spring and summer is every street.
Oh, it's
Yeah, or every street that we typically establish speed limits on. So
Can you want to keep that item which you strike off and then the previous one you can remove?
yeah, if we're doing that, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Either or.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And the Regnar Creek Trail crossing at Blaney Avenue, is there anything that still needs to be discussed about?
I don't think there is anything to be discussed. The only thing I noticed is like still, even though there is a flashing light there, I see bikers and people just they cross without turning on the lights. And nighttime after the sundown, people are not supposed to use the trail, and then I still see people crossing in the nighttime without lights, even bike lights or anything. So it's a safety issue there, but it's more of a behavioral issue than what the city can do.
I would add to that, there are also many cars who don't stop. So
Well, so is this an item we want to keep on the future agenda items list, or because this something that can be addressed outside of the commission?
I don't know if this is a commission topic, but I think there's a general opportunity within the city. I don't know, is it education or providing some capabilities like lights and whatnot to residents, but that's just way too many people. Even when I just drove here from home to here, two people, completely dark, nothing on there, walking in the middle of the road. I mean, this is just educational part. I don't know what it is, and I don't even know if this is part of our remit here, but I would assume we should have some program within the city to educate and help those people. I don't know if this is a cost issue to provide lights or not there. I think it's accidents.
So is that something we want to have as a future agenda item in lieu of?
I think if you go down, like there's an education section there, and we might already have it in there. Or you could include it in there. In general, what do we need to do about, safety, pedestrian safety, education, right? Like, if you want to make a generic text, bicycle and pedestrian safety. Yeah.
That being said, I still think it makes sense to keep the crossing between the Regnar Creek Trail and Blaney, because we see and we all see that this intersection has some issues, and it comes from cars, it comes from pedestrians and cyclists who don't pay attention. But I think it's worth looking into, at least maybe in the future, looking at data, looking at, for example, the how many cars stop or don't or not when the flashing lights are activated. I don't know what it is, but I still think it's valuable to keep that up there, because I can definitely foresee an accident happening in the next 6 months. I don't want it for sure, but I can definitely see that happen. So
This flashlights crossing, I personally lobbied for installing some of those on McClellan. It's a mixed bag. I'll give a couple of examples. One, there is a resident, on the one that's, Felton one. There is a person that lives there, 98 years old. And I met her and she personally thanked me. She was not thanking me, she was thanking the city for installing the flashlight. And our comment was, before this, she always had the need to go to CVS pharmacy, even though she lives across, she never dared to cross. Now with the flashlights, she is able to, push it and, and cars are stopping and then she's able to cross. So she was thanking and, I was like, okay, I should convey this to David. Right? So thank you for installing that. Right? So that's that. But then I've seen the opposite where, on the Kim Street flashlight, there was someone, standing there with, 4 or 5 small dogs to cross. After pressing the flashlight, no car was stopped. I was passing by and I was so mad. I just walked into the middle of the street and I put up my hand, say, you guys stop. Okay. And then I let that women pass.
Be careful doing that.
Okay. I was so mad because nobody was stopping. And she has, around 4 or 5 small dogs and she was trying to cross and she couldn't, because with the dogs, she didn't dare to cross, right? So, and nobody was stopping. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think I'm fine, I'm open to keeping that item in there, as long as the staff can do some additional studies. Anything related to safety on that location and then bring it back in future. I mean, the question is like, do we need to make any further improvements there? Warning signs or something like that, then you can bring it back.
Okay.
Okay,
Leave it on.
that's, anything else? David, do you have anything else to move or?
No, it was the ones I noticed.
So one thing I would really like to bring is like any bicycle pedestrian project status. You used to do that in the past, where you come and give an update on the ongoing CIP projects and the current status and things like that. Maybe that's something that would be good for the commission
Yeah,
to
sure.
review it.
Want me to add that?
Yeah, good to add that.
This lady's maybe?
Yeah, maybe in the projects, you can say,
Okay.
the projects, like there'd be an update, staff update. On a CIP, yeah. Project up.
We want that to be quarterly as soon as I have.
Quarterly might be too often.
Hardly too often, things
Too
don't
often.
change that fast. And
Okay,
yeah,
6 months.
yeah.
Okay.
Both pedestrian and bicycle. Yeah, so. So that's it. Okay, that's all about the future agenda items. And I think we have come to the end of the meeting. Time is 8:40. And meeting is adjourned. 8:40.
Thank you.